Hello, everybody, and welcome to our fun little Bible study podcast, Bible Together. Hope you're having a good day. Hello, my dear. How are you?
Um, well, honestly, I'm frazzled, but not. I'll be all right.
It happens. I just noticed our camera's like really crooked and it
Yeah,
doesn't
it
seem
is
to come
crooked.
up on the
It
screen.
makes me look crooked.
No, not yours. Oh, yours is too.
Mine is crooked.
But oh well, it's here now. We're gonna read the Bible together, and we would encourage everybody to do this. If you have a significant person in your life, a spouse or a significant other of some sort, a sibling, a friend. Um, we found this to be a very kind of engaging and enlightening way to very, very casually study the Bible.
Mm.
Um, and it's quite helpful to get other people's perspectives on the Bible. I was thinking about this the other day. We, when we prepare for sermons and for Bible studies and different things that we're doing, we tend to go get other people's opinions all the time. We just don't really
Hmm.
have the opportunity to talk back with them at all about it usually.
Yeah,
And so this is you get to do this here. That's fun.
yeah.
I'd heavily encourage you to do it, especially if you have somebody who you have spent your life with and chosen to continue to do that. So that's what this is. We're going to spend some time looking through Joshua chapter 10 today. And hopefully we have no technical problems and everything goes well. But we're going to start with some prayer. Let's pray.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for time together to be in your word. Lord, please continue to be with us as we read through this and open our eyes to anything that we might not have seen before and be in all that we say and do, Lord. We love you. We love your Son. And it's in his name I pray. Amen.
Joshua chapter 10.
Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had captured and completely destroyed Ai and killed its king, just as he had destroyed the town of Jericho and killed its king. He also learned that the Gibeonites had made peace with Israel and were now their allies. He and his people became very afraid when they heard all this, because Gibeon was a large town, as large as the royal cities and larger than Ai, and the Gibeonite men were strong warriors. So King Adonizedek of Jerusalem sent messengers to several other kings, Hoam of Hebron, Piram of Jarmuth, Shaphiah of Lachish, and Debir of Eglon. Come and help me destroy Gibeon, he urged them, for they have made peace with Joshua and the people of Israel. So these 5 Amorite kings combined their armies for a united attack. They moved all their troops into place and attacked Gibeon. The men of Gibeon quickly sent messengers to Joshua at his camp in Gilgal. Don't abandon your servants now, they pleaded. Come at once, save us, help us. For all the Amorite kings who live in the hill country have joined forces to attack us. So Joshua and his entire army, including his best warriors, left Gilgal and set out for Gibeon. Do not be afraid of them, the Lord said to Joshua, for I have given you victory over them. Not a single one of them will be able to stand up to you. Joshua traveled all night from Gilgal and took the Amorite armies by surprise. The Lord threw them into a panic, and the Israelites slaughtered great numbers of them at Gibeon. Then the Israelites chased the enemy along the road to Beth Horon, killing them all along the way to Azekah and Makkedah. As the Amorites retreated down the road from Beth Horon, the Lord destroyed them with a terrible hailstorm from heaven that continued until they reached Azekah. The hail killed more of the enemy than the Israelites killed with the sword. On the day the Lord gave the Israelites victory over the Amorites, Joshua prayed to the Lord in front of all the people of Israel. He said, let the sun stand still over Gibeon and the moon over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still and the moon stayed in place until the nation of Israel had defeated its enemies. Is this event not recorded in the book of Jashar? The sun stayed in the middle of the sky and it did not set as on a normal day. There's never been a day like this, one before or since, when the Lord answered such a prayer. Surely the Lord fought for Israel that day. Then Joshua and the Israelite army returned to their camp at Gilgal. During the battle, the 5 kings escaped and hid in the cave at Makkedah. When Joshua heard that they had been found, he issued this command: cover the opening of the cave with large rocks and place guards at the entrance to keep the kings inside. The rest of you continue chasing the enemy and cut them down from the rear. Don't give them a chance to get back to their towns, for the Lord your God has given you victory over them. So Joshua and the Israelite army continued the slaughter and completely crushed the enemy. They totally wiped out the 5 armies, except for a tiny remnant that managed to reach their fortified towns. Then the Israelites returned safely to Joshua at the camp at Makkedah. After that, no one dared to speak even a word against Israel. Then Joshua said, remove the rocks covering the opening of the cave and bring the 5 kings to me. So they brought the 5 kings out of the cave, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they brought them out, Joshua told the commanders of his army, come and put your feet on the kings' necks. And they did as they were told. Don't ever be afraid or discouraged, Joshua told his men. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord is going to do this to all of your enemies. Then Joshua killed each of the 5 kings and impaled them on 5 sharpened poles, where they hung until evening. As the sun was going down, Joshua gave instructions for the bodies of the kings to be taken down from the poles and thrown into the cave where they had been hiding. Then they covered the opening of the cave with a pile of large rocks, which remains to this very day. That same day, Joshua captured and destroyed the town of Makkedah. He killed everyone in it, including the king, leaving no survivors. He destroyed them all, and he killed the king of Makkedah as he had killed the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and the Israelites went to Libnah and attacked it. There, too, the Lord gave them the town of its king. He killed everyone in it, leaving no survivors. Then Joshua killed the king of Libnah as he had killed the king of Jericho. From Libnah, Joshua and the Israelites went to Lachish and attacked it. Here again the Lord gave them Lachish. Joshua took it on the 2nd day and killed everyone in it, just as he had done at Libnah. During the attack on Lachish, King Horam of Gezer arrived with his army to help defend the town. But Joshua's men killed him and his army, leaving no survivors. Then Joshua and the Israelite army went on to Eglon and attacked it. They captured it that day and killed everyone in it. He completely destroyed everyone, just as he had done at Lachish. From Eglon, Joshua and the Israelite army went up to Hebron and attacked it. They captured the town and killed everyone in it, including its king, leaving no survivors. They did the same thing to all its surrounding villages, and just as he had done at Eglon, he completely destroyed the entire population. Then Joshua and the Israelites turned back and attacked Debir. He captured the town, its king, and all of its surrounding villages. He completely destroyed everyone in it, leaving no survivors. He did to Debir and its king just what he'd done to Hebron and to Libnah and its king. So Joshua conquered the whole region, the kings and the people of the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills, and the mountain slopes. He completely destroyed everyone in the land, leaving no survivors, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua slaughtered them from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and from the region around the town of Goshen up to Gibeon. Joshua conquered all these kings and their land in a single campaign, for the Lord, the God of Israel, was fighting for his people. Then Joshua and the Israelite army returned to their camp at Gilgal.
Had a very hard time with the buttons doing what I wanted them to, but hey, we made it through.
And tissue.
So there's a whole lot going on in this
There's a
chapter.
whole lot.
What do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. Maybe at the beginning. It's always good to go to the beginning. I remember looking up Adonai Zedek, which means Lord of Righteousness. Yes, Lord of Righteousness. And if we remember, Jerusalem was not originally an Israelite town. Neither is Hebron. Hebron is a place that David makes.
Lachish.
Hmm?
Or Lachish.
Or Lachish. Yeah, David later makes Hebron a place that he lives for a while. I think it's while he's, it's just after he's king. I think it is. Right. It is at the beginning, I think, where he lives. But if you remember, Melchizedek was someone that Abraham, or I guess he was Abram at the time, gave a tenth to, who was, I suppose, I don't think they called him a king. Was he king of Jerusalem?
Yeah. Oh, he was a high priest.
He was the high
I
priest.
think he was the king. I think his name means like king of righteousness or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And
Hold on.
then Jerusalem at the time is a Canaanite city, and it is
The king of Salem. That's what it
he's the
says.
king of Salem, which is
Mm-hmm.
the king of
It's
the king of Salem. It doesn't say Jerusalem in some translations; it just
right.
says Salem because the word Salem means peace, and Yeru means city, and so Jerusalem is just the city of peace.
Mm-hmm.
He's the king of the city of peace. It just kind of comes across a little differently when it's not officially named Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, he's kind of an important figure in Israelite history. I think it's interesting. He's a fascinating character to me.
Melchizedek.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a scary person to talk about because there's a lot of weight put on him as a person. Um, over time, the Bible refers back to him in Psalms or Isaiah, and then it refers back to him in Hebrews as well. And it just talks about how unique of a character he is, just sort of coming into the story of the Israelites seemingly from nowhere with no heritage that we know of, no ancestors that we know of. He has,
Yeah.
as far as we can tell, no kids and no parents. But like that's just because we don't get that information. It doesn't mean he appeared out of nowhere, literally.
Right.
And the Bible uses this idea that like, hey, there's this person that we've just stumbled across that seems to worship God,
Mm-hmm.
and very much he has no ancestor that teach him to worship God that we know of.
Right.
Um, he is just a guy who has experienced the true God and been like, all right, we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so his faith and his priesthood that he sort of symbolizes becomes a symbol for Jesus. He doesn't have an earthly family to worry about. He has always been around. He has always been God's. And therefore, Jesus' priesthood is sort of like that. And so he becomes like a symbol for them of a pure priesthood of somebody who has just experienced God and recognized his worthiness.
Yeah.
Um, and so apparently, we're a little bit distant from that now because the city
Yeah.
of Jerusalem is not
But they
doing so hot.
still, I mean, they still have these names, but they've come far from where they were worshiping, we assume, worshiping God.
I don't assume for a minute Melchizedek's name was because he was a righteous guy.
Mm.
It just happened to be that he was seen to be a righteous person. But as a king, you're not going to call yourself like king of passive aggressiveness, right? Like you're not. It's not. They're not naming them after reality. They're naming them after like this is what my kingdom stands for. This is what you will believe of me,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah, I suppose that's right. Well, I think so. This person now, Adonai Zedek. I mean, he has a lot to be concerned about. And if we remember, the Gibeons were the people that tricked Joshua into saying, "No, no, we're from far away. Look at our clothes. Look at our moldy bread." Um, but it says here,
Look at this horse. It's just a gift, we swear.
uh, it says here that Gibeon was a larger town than they were, so that's why they called on the other kings of the region. But I'm very curious to know, with all of that combined, if they were even remotely large enough to face Israel. Because Israel was quite large at that point. And I realize, like, oh gosh, it just doesn't make any sense, like, logistically to try. I mean, I guess their reasoning must be something like, well, they're gonna take us out because Gibeon tricked them. Maybe they knew that much. I have no idea. But they're not gonna let us stay in the land because they're purging everybody, right? They know that much. That's why they'd heard about I, and they're like, oh, they're not gonna let us keep worshiping um, our gods. So they're like, we might as well band together if we're gonna die. We better we better fight as much as we can.
So I shared with the Bible study group um,
Yesterday?
yesterday about
Mm.
these tablets that are a record of Israel taking over Canaan. Um, as history has moved on and people have become more and more skeptical of organized religion, and they've become more and more disconnected from really just the reality of history.
Mhm.
The Western world has sort of moved from the Bible as this book over here, and it talks about the Israelite history, and it's a good book of faith and religion, to the Bible is a book for religious people, to the Bible is a series of stories that are mythological and made up and blah blah blah. And um, and so historians are kind of in that boat too. And there was a period there where historians were like, yeah, we don't really know what happened to the Canaanites. We just know they were sort of taken out. Nobody, the Egyptians don't really claim it. The Sumerians don't claim it. The Assyrians don't claim it. Whoever's left at the time. Like nobody's really written this down because the Bible is rejected by a lot of people as a book of history. But there's these tablets from around the beginning of the time of Judges when Israel is still moving through Canaan and conquering it, because it's right after this,
Mhm.
that are these letters from the Canaanite kings, like these groups here, to Egypt saying, please come help us, please come help us, please come help us. The Israelites, the Hebrew people, they are wiping us out. And either every city that like, they're called the Amarna tablets. And basically it's like, hey, this city has been wiped out. This group, they went to deal with the Israelites, but they ended up joining them. And so now we're on our own. We have no allies. And it's an interesting, like, bit of history where this is really happening. The Israelites are just steamrolling across
Mhm.
the land of Canaan. Um, but they have to. So some of the language here is pretty graphic. Like we see it uses the word and they like the phrasing that they killed them over and over and over and
Or
over.
put your feet on their necks.
It's very
That's very
distinct.
graphic, like.
So I have a couple of thoughts. Like one is we have to make sure we're careful as Christians. Like we live in the Western world. We're very comfortable. We're more comfortable than anybody has ever been in history. And we can take that for granted. Most of us are quite disconnected in this world from combat and from warfare,
Mhm.
and from
Absolutely.
fear of attack, right? Like we don't, even the world in the state that it is, we're incredibly blessed.
Mhm.
Um, this is not that time. This is not that time. They kind of show some amicability between the Canaanite kings here, but it's just this is what they would have had to do to survive. They would have been very quick to take over each other's territory if they could. They weren't really friends. And so there's a reality of war in this period in history that's pretty common. But we can tend to feel pretty squeamish and even judgmental of this kind of passage. Um, but there's it's important to remember this is the responsibility of the Israelites to take out an incredibly perverse and sinful people. Like most of the Canaanite worship at this point is very, very bad for humans. Like it's child sacrifice, it's prostitution and things like that that are used in their worship.
Right.
Um, it's not good for the species. And God even addresses this in Genesis later, and he's in Genesis 15 when he says, Abram, I'm going to give you the land of Canaan, but you're going to have to wait because the people there aren't sinful enough. Like they're just at this point they don't deserve to be wiped out. And I believe because God doesn't change and it seems like God is constantly chasing after us, he was also chasing after them. They just rejected him over and over and over. And after 400 years, God finally said, all right, I'm not trying anymore. Here comes the Israelites. And so there is a good reason for the Israelites to be doing this. I know it seems kind of graphic and kind of burdensome, but it is their mission from God.
Mhm.
And so I think that's important to remember.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing that's really interesting is like, uh, I think a lot of the times the battles we see in Joshua, Judges, in with Moses and Aaron, in Leviticus, Numbers, Exodus, all this place. Like, there's always some interesting things happening, like when Moses has to hold his hands up and the sun stands still, or the
Yeah.
Hezekiah's day hours go backwards and
Yes.
stuff, right? Like, um, a lot of the times, these are just miraculous, sort of wild events for us.
It's really hard to, because it does seem kind of like a fantasy, honestly, that the sun stood still and the moon stood still. How did, like, other than just writing it, it's hard to imagine the sun not moving.
I wonder, like,
But it's not the sun that's not moving, right?
oh, I don't,
It's us that's not moving, right? It's the earth stood still,
yeah,
right? If
fundamentally, I
I
guess.
mean, what?
Both would really have to stop.
Yes, both would have to stop.
But
If you understand what currently uh that scientists believe is that our whole solar system is moving. Okay,
no,
I'm
no,
not saying it right.
you're saying it fine.
Yes, our whole solar system is moving incredibly fast through space. We're not it's not just our planets that are moving around the sun. All of it all of it is moving all at once in a direction, right?
Yeah, imagine a merry-go-round on a boat in the ocean.
So it wouldn't just be that the sun and the moon stood still, it'd be everything,
What I'm
right?
wondering is what cues are there in my life that the sun has stopped?
What do you mean?
So, like, I would probably not notice it for a while, and I have the liberty of having timekeeping pieces all
Oh, to
around
tell it,
me.
like, to look, to notice, you mean?
Yeah, and so I
Okay.
would probably look up and go, "Oh, it's dinner time,"
So I think the only thing
right? Like,
relatively close to that is when the time changes.
mhm.
I mean, if we're gonna when the time changes and you're like,
Yeah,
it
so
just
this
doesn't
kind
feel right that the sun seems to be like it feels like 5 o'clock p.m., but it's really 3 o'clock because the sun's already started going down. But you don't start to notice it until winter, really.
well, I also wonder, like, it takes us a while to adjust to the time change, right? Like,
Yeah,
and it's just an hour.
yeah.
So how the sun would have had to stand still for a good period of time before I think anybody noticed it. They would have had to notice like shadows aren't
But they're
lengthening, that they've
battling.
gotten
How can they
hungry,
notice that?
right? Hey guys, we're all hungry. Like time has passed. Why isn't the sun
Just
moving?
maybe it was just the battle felt like it took forever.
So when the time changes, like I've said for years,
What?
Spring Forward Monday, the Monday after Spring Forward, should be a
Holiday?
national holiday
Because it's so
because
hard.
everybody's broken, everybody's tired, everybody's grouchy. It takes a long time to recover from that shift. How long? What were the repercussions of this?
Why do you need the sun for battle? I mean,
Ah,
besides the obvious.
okay. So this is a great question.
I mean, I think I know the answer, but you could also fight at night if there's
What if it
moonlight.
has nothing to do with that?
What is it? Okay. What do you mean?
I think the normal train of thought is like this way they have more time to see their enemies and they can win. The Israelites clearly weren't having a problem with their battles as long as they were following God.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do this. So why do it in this instance? Um, one of the things that we see here is a sort of
Well, can we just back up?
mhm,
Sorry. So, if we go back to verse 9, because there's something pretty amazing here. Joshua traveled
mhm,
all night, from Gilgal to Gibeon. Do you know how far that is?
no,
I looked it up. It's 15 to 20 miles.
mm,
They traveled through the night uphill, 3,000 feet elevation,
mm.
um, taking 7 to 10 hours. I don't know how that's. You'd have to be. I don't even know how that's possible. I feel like I don't know.
A
Can an
healthy
average
person
person
can run a mile in about 8
with all
minutes.
their equipment?
So let's say they're walking, they're speed walking, You could probably cover a mile
They still
in
probably would need to take
45
breaks,
minutes.
right? Water breaks. You need sustenance. You can't no? Uphill
Soldiers.
with all your stuff. Yeah, but I just didn't think that they were proper soldiers just coming out of
Okay.
wandering in the desert.
Farmers.
They're not farmers.
No, but I think about like
Not to say they didn't have the skills.
have you seen that video? There's like a farmer convention. That's probably not the right name. It's like an agricultural like con. Um, and they go around with one of those like grip things to measure the grip of the farmers
Yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ranchers and stuff, and they're wildly strong.
Yeah.
Um, Farmers just have that sort of like hard work endurance, right?
But they're not
Even though a lot of their work nowadays is like you think, well, it's on a tractor, it's doing
like
no,
God
their work is
provided their
intensely
every need. He
laborious.
provided their food, their water.
Yeah. So
How
who's
are they buff and fit?
so who is
I mean, I guess move. I don't know. I don't know.
who is the sun stopping for?
I don't know. What point are you trying to make?
We read the story of the sun stopping, you're like, haha, look at this is so cool. There's this miracle. The Israelites are fighting for God, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the sun being stopped is a message for the Israelites or a tool for the
Is it
Israelites.
to show the world what God can do?
So in this part of the world,
Wouldn't the rest of the world take note or like,
so
this was a really
there are
strange
records.
day? Yeah.
There's in China, in Native America, there are records that go back a couple thousand years of these weirdly long days.
Mm.
Um, there's like mythology and a lot of different indigenous peoples around the world of a day when the sun just sort of freaked out.
And they're supposed to hope, like, they're not going to find out anytime soon. Is it for us down the road to
Mm-mm,
like line up these things? Like, oh, in China,
I
they
don't
wrote down this long day and it lines up right up. Like, is it for us?
I don't think so.
Who's it for then?
Canaanites.
What are they supposed to take from it?
Their top dog god is the sun and the moon.
Oh, and that God has dominion over the sun and the moon.
Hmm. So that is it's either like, oh look, God has control. Their God has control over the moon. If they could have figured that out, but the very least, even like, what if they thought the sun staying up for them was like, look, our God is here to help us, but they still lost in plain view of their God.
Mm,
It is a big knock to the power of the Canaanite gods.
mm-hmm.
Um, when Judah is taken into exile, one of the things that we get a record of is that Nebuchadnezzar takes with him all of the stuff from the temple, the cups, the plates, all this stuff, right? And he takes them and he stores them not like in a vault because they're all gold and they're special. He doesn't store them in his palace. He stores them in the temple of his God.
Mm,
Um, and the idea is that this is him saying, "My God has victory over your God. Your temple gods, your temple artifacts have come, and they are now in supplication in my temple, my God's house." So they become a sort of symbol of the power and victory of the God of the Babylonians. And and when you read the minor prophets, the doom and gloom prophets that are just like, "All right, Israel, you've really, really just taken way too long to figure this out, and we're done here. Like God's gonna send, He's gonna wipe you out. He's gonna take you into exile. He's gonna destroy your homes. He's gonna destroy your crops. Like you have really, really missed the boat here, and you're very proud of yourself. Your worship is disingenuous. Your sacrifices are in vain. So here we go. Buckle up. This is sort of him saying, like, I'm gonna send this man and his army, and he's gonna do what he thinks is conquering me just to punish you. And I'm just gonna sit and wait, and then I'll take you all back out because he's never really had dominion over me. He's never had victory over God. He's had victory over you.
mm.
um, so the placement of stuff in temples and gods and the symbolism of whose god is in charge based on who's winning wars is pretty common in ancient cultures. And so I think this is God going, all right, Canaanites, you've been praying to the sun god and sacrificing people to it and stuff for centuries now. I'm just going to hold it here, watch it burn for a while longer. It doesn't help you.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's interesting.
I'm very curious though. I don't know. Does it say exactly how long?
No, I don't think so.
No. But we're given.
It has to have been long enough for them to notice. They didn't have watches. They couldn't measure the location of the sun with satellites and say, "Oh,
I'm
it's
just
wrong."
curious what the results of that are.
Yeah, that's
Like
what are the repercussions of this?
when
Like,
just because you said watch it burn a bit made me think like if the earth is still on one side in front of the sun and the other side would
mm,
be very cold, right?
yeah,
And because of how long it's staying still. And what are the ramifications for the tidal waves, right? You
mm,
need the moon to make right?
mhm.
For the push and pull of the waves on the ocean.
Yeah, the tides would have been all messed up.
Like there would have been a lot of weird things happening around the earth, right? If it's still.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. No, no.
Um, what is the book of Jashar?
I don't know. I don't know.
Or
I think
Jashar?
I think I looked it up once because, there's a couple of things throughout the Bible that is this not written down in the book of the annals of the kings of, you know,
Yeah, but I think we have that, right? Like,
I think it is just
it's the difference between Chronicles and Kings.
yeah. I think.
Um,
Hold on.
although there are things that they say, like, aren't the rest of his deeds written down? And you're like, I don't think so. Like, where did we miss those somewhere?
This is a addendum. This is a separate.
Yeah, the appendix was left out. Nobody reads them anyways.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me look it up. What verse is that? With Jashar?
Oh, it is
Oh, I see it.
13.
Yeah. Mm, is it?
Hmm.
Yeah, it is. The Book of Jashar is a non-con can oh, why can't I say this word? Can you help me?
Non-canonical.
Thank you. I thought that was what it said, but I didn't. It's like that's uh, a text referenced in the Old Testament, also mentioned in 2 Samuel 1:18. It is thought to be a collection of poetic writings or songs celebrating Israel's heroes and significant events. The citation of this book lends historical credibility to the account, suggesting that the event was well known and recorded in other ancient sources. It also highlights the importance of oral and written traditions in preserving Israel's history.
That so. As an aside,
Hmm.
how do I say this? We're really fortunate how much was written down because nowadays people just sort of disregard oral tradition a lot of the time, even though it was the predominant way of sharing information for millennia.
Hmm.
We're very fortunate how much is written down.
Hold on. The notes say that.
The Book of the Upright.
Oh no, sorry. I was going back to the sun stayed in the middle of the sky and it did not set as on a normal day, but other translations say, or did not set for about a whole day.
Ay, ay, ay.
So 24 hours. I guess. About.
Yeah, I feel like that would have caused some ecological changes.
Hmm.
Um, or maybe God just preserved the world in that,
Yeah,
which
maybe.
He can do.
You can.
Anything else?
Not about the sun setting, or, I mean, not setting.
Lachish is an important city. I think it's the place where um, I think it's in Nineveh that there is a record of a campaign against Israel. but they never make it to Jerusalem. And so there's this like cylinder that has this record of this king's victories, and it really hypes up how amazing the king was. Um, I may be saying the wrong place as far as where they found it, but it talks about how amazing their king was, for he conquered the Israelite town Lachish, which is
Mhm.
hilarious because it's not the capital city. It's not the big deal city that people would have cared about. It is sort of the last big fortress on the way to Jerusalem, but he doesn't count. He doesn't conquer Jerusalem in that campaign because God slaughters the army at night. And so that's the account that we have from the Babylonians. It's like, look at how great he conquered Lachish. That was his goal. Let's leave out the part that he came back alone without his army because the God of the Israelites took out his entire army in the middle of the night.
Yeah. I was just looking at this part about the kings, because so we have these 5 kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. So that's 5. And then later on, it goes into the southern towns, which on top of the 5 kings, he kills, I guess, 2 more,
Yeah.
Makda and Libnah. And earlier, I had been confused because I thought they'd already
And
killed,
Debir.
and Debir. Yeah, so that's 8. And it does talk about towns they'd already, like Lachish and Eglon.
And all the towns from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza killed all their kings.
Yeah.
All the towns.
Like in one campaign, so one after the other. Like, doesn't
This
really
is how
say.
Alexander the Great fought.
Mhm.
He was famously aggressive in how he drove his army from place to place. And so the whole thought was, oh no, the Greeks are coming, right? The Macedonians are coming. Let's get ready for battle. We'll start to cook the food. We'll start to prep the weapons. We'll get the soldiers lined up. And in the middle of doing this all, he rolls up way before anybody expects him to.
Mhm.
And he conquers so much because of how fast he is.
Yeah.
And he would drive his army overnight through the night up over mountains and just surprise everybody by how quickly he got there.
That is kind of curious. I'm wondering what the map looks like. Look,
Map of
this region.
oh
Like, so you could see if it is what the landscape looks like. Like, it did say
oh
they traveled overnight.
it's a very hilly
Well,
landscape,
this
right?
is the
Like
other part of, they traveled overnight and then they fought for a full day, right? What? I
adrenaline.
there no. I stayed up one night till like,
Oh my dear, you are not a good measure of
I
this.
know I'm not. I'm just saying, like, even if all of your warriors were 18 and the strongest men on the planet,
Most
you're
18-year-olds.
telling me for almost at the very least 30 hours.
I would be curious to talk to some veterans about stuff like this because there's times when they were awake like this.
You think so?
Oh, for sure. A couple, like I think adrenaline, anxiety, like these things that have been built into our DNA to help us survive difficult situations, they're gonna keep you going.
Well, it just says I can't quite that same day. Okay, but the sun and the moon did eventually, after a day, land, or
Where'd they land?
it went. Do you know what I mean? It's settled.
Tel Aviv? Where are we
It's
going?
it's set, and it was another day. But I'm confused as to
And then
when.
you've got horrible jet lag,
Oh, it says
essentially.
as the sun was going down. We have a point here in 27. So there was a new day. But somehow it says that same day Joshua captured this place, and we don't really have a time of how long it takes to go through the rest of these areas. Are we talking like a week? A couple days? I don't think anyone ever talks of, well, I mean, I'm sure somebody's talked about it.
We don't have a timeline,
No.
and that's okay. It bothers you.
Not really.
More so than the sun landing?
I just. Not literally. Come on.
I know. Yeah, but he goes on. Southern armies, the next chapter is northern armies, then the people east of the Jordan. He just doesn't stop. And I kind of get the impression this is one of the last times the Israelites were just doing what they were told,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Like after Joshua, we get into Judges, and it's kind of a disaster.
Yes.
The Israelites are left to their own devices. They've taken out most of the bad guys in the land. They're starting to settle down, and they left to their own devices make pretty bad decisions over and over. They intermingle and
Oh, I've just finished this. No, I haven't finished, but I'm in Second Kings,
Mhm.
and Israel has been conquered and scattered.
The
Where I'm,
northern kingdom.
yes, it was Israel, and then there's Judah.
So I just specify because I think a
Right, right,
lot of people will hear Israel and it's the whole country,
yeah,
which is one of the annoying parts about it being called Israel.
right. Yep. Mm.
Um,
But the reason why is because they turned away from God.
yeah,
They were worshiping. Oh, and even like one of the verses that I read this morning was, um, it talked about how the people were trying to be secret about their worship of these things against the Lord. It says, the people of Israel had also secretly done many things that were not pleasing to the Lord their God, which is kind of hilarious. How can anything be secret from the Lord? But I think the context is
from each
that
other, from the
that
temple, from the priesthood.
they thought they were being secretive,
Mm,
and the scope, like it was all encompassing. Like there wasn't a rock or a tree that they didn't do terrible things under, and I think that's what it's trying to emphasize. The entire landscape, everybody is trying to do these things. I don't know how it's secret, but it's just
yeah,
interesting.
it's just it really is the last time that Israel does everything they're told to do. It feels like because you get judges after this, we get Samuel after that. They
Oh,
elect a
like
king.
fully devoted.
Yeah,
Mm.
um, and James talks about with the early Christians,
What about
your
what about after they come back from Babylon? What about then?
it's a mess.
Well, yeah, it's a mess they have to clean up, but aren't they trying really hard
A few of them
to
are.
be devoted to the Lord?
I so in Ezra and Nehemiah, like I think the most positive outlook you can have on that is a couple of them are trying real hard to keep it together.
Yeah.
Um, there's bickering over how the temple's being built, and that's not good enough, and
I
all
was
this
trying
stuff.
to think. I was just trying to think of any other time that they were united
But
in
right
that.
after that is the intertestamental period, and the high priests are set from two different families, and they're constantly like taking each other out.
Right.
Um,
Is that the time of the? No, I'm gonna get it wrong.
just the in between period with the Maccabees and stuff.
I was gonna
Um,
say the Maccabees, but I didn't want to.
but it's bad. Like they're still so worried about themselves. Like
Hmm.
the temple is being rebuilt. This is an amazing thing, and there's immediately like it's not as grand as it was before. Like why isn't the walls this color anymore?
Well, Hezekiah had to strip the gold from the walls so that they wouldn't be carried off to.
No, he gave it to them.
I know it says that in Chronicles, but it says in Kings, the King's version. There's two
Yeah, yeah.
versions. Um, because I just read it this morning. It
So in
says he
Kings it says he does it as like a payment.
as a payment. It's a payment to keep them alive. I mean, he was the one that said, "Look at all these things." Yes, and that did lead to, but he did have to make it as a payment
Yeah.
in order a tribute in order to keep them from being um, taken.
But it's one of those situations where God goes, "Hey, we're gonna go back and I'm gonna restore you," and they're not there, but like a year, and people start complaining.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what the actual timeline is, but it feels quick in the
Mm.
word.
Does feel
And
quick.
then God goes, "Okay, quiet time now, everybody. I'm gonna wait for the time for the Messiah."
Mhm.
And talk to a couple people, an old man and an old woman at the temple, Elizabeth, Mary, Joseph, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. It says here at the end
John the Baptist.
that they returned to their camp at Gilgal, which, if you remember from the previous, a little farther back, is where they kind of camped after crossing.
The Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where he piled up stones as a monument. And it looks like that was kind of like, I don't, they just kept coming back to that spot. I know
Mm-hmm.
later on the tribes go out and have their own plots or whatever. I'm curious where Gilgal kind of landed in that.
Judah.
Was it?
I think so.
Hmm.
It's oh no 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 sorry. I was say it's really close to Jerusalem, but it's
Or
not. It's really close to
I
Jericho.
kind of wonder if
Is Jericho a Benjamite town, or is that on the other side of the river?
I don't know, but you're not supposed to rebuild it. He put a curse on it. Joshua did.
Yeah, I'm curious myself, so I'd like to see.
Where it lands
Um,
in the tribes.
Manasseh and Jericho is a Benjamite town,
Oh, okay.
which is why I thought um, Gilgal was as well. But Manasseh is colossal. It's huge. It's bigger than Judah. It
Mm.
looks like. Look at that. And it just
Oh,
dips down and takes this little sliver of Gilgal.
wow.
Yeah, it's really
That's
interesting.
interesting. Man, I wish my Bible had more maps.
I wish all Bibles had more maps.
Yeah. It's really hard to conceptualize if you don't have it. Well, maybe that's not a bad thing because it means you have to go do your own research, which is really good for you.
Mm-hmm. There's
Okay.
Ekron, Lachish, Hebron, Debir. So they're all kind of in Judah. Ekron's
I
not,
need,
but
I, don't- I'm sure they make them. I just need a book of maps.
I have one, kind of.
That's like
There's a lot of maps in
by
that.
chapter.
No, no. A,
Obviously, you can't have one every chapter,
I
but I
know,
mean, like by book.
I know
Yeah.
Bible atlases exist, and I wonder if that's what those are supposed to be.
Mm.
We are very much just kind of
Yeah, we've gone.
filling time now,
Yep.
not on purpose. This it's such an interesting chapter. A lot happens.
Yeah.
Um, it just sort of reinforces that God's mission for Israel was to be a holy people, but to be a holy people, you have to really burn off all of the chaff, right? Like you have to get rid of the sin, and you have to put up protections and boundaries around you so you don't fall into sin.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of talking about this a bit on Sunday, because James talks about being divided in your focus. And he basically says, like, you can seek God's wisdom and you can be grateful for it. But if your faith is in other people or even slightly looking in the wrong direction, like it's not going to go well because you're going to be divided and you're going to be torn apart.
Mm.
Um, and I just like this is the problem for the Israelites. They keep, oh, the Gibeonites, they tricked us. Well, we swore we'd let them live. I guess we have to let them live. And I can just feel God like face palming because he needs them to honor their word. They're supposed to be a holy people, but they never should have committed to that idiocy. Um, and so all throughout the Bible, we see God having to like work around our lunacy to make sure his plan still happens. Because he's like, I'm going to use you. You're going to be my guy. Abram, you're my guy. Abram, why did you go back to Egypt? Get back over here. All right. I need you to be a man of wealth and means so that you can build a family, you can build a nation, you can see my blessing. So we're going to use Egypt to bless you, but get back over to Canaan. Like you can kind of feel it at times. And this is one of those moments where they're finally listening and God has an opportunity to see the little seedling of this holy nation that he's about to use. And man, it doesn't last long.
Yeah.
So as frustrated as I can be with the Israelites at times, it's just from 10,000 feet up, looking down at their story, covering days and weeks and months and years of time in a chapter, looking down, going, "Man, they were dumb. How much more frustrated would God have been with them, and how much more frustrated is He with us in our day, month, week when we continue to do the same thing over and over?"
Yeah.
But it's a great chapter. Fun book. Thank you for watching. Again, I would encourage you to do this with your families. If you have somehow stumbled upon this and made it this far, I'm Captain Ian. This is Captain Brittany. We're pastors for the Salvation Army, and we are happy you're here. But have a great day. We'll see you hopefully next Thursday. We have church in the Houston area on Sundays at 10 a.m.
Mhm.
Let us know if you want to come, and everybody's welcome. Have a great rest of your week. I hope this was helpful for you. Adios.